on the same course. Hello, I'm Amanda Rabel, Vice President of Customer Success and Operations, and I'm here today talking to Julia Kanouse. Julia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Julia Kanouse, Chief Membership and Marketing Officer here at ISACA, and I've been here 3-ish years.
All right, I've been here almost 9 years, but what some people know and some people don't know is we've known each other for...
Don't say, because then they can figure out how old we are.
A long time. And so we were raised together in Idaho, and our life journey has brought us to various different points and companies. But part of what we did growing up in Idaho was driving. Of course, that was like the biggest thing, is to get your driver's license.
You had to drive everywhere to go anywhere,
right,
in Idaho.
There was no Ubers. There was not a lot of public transportation, and so it was very important to us for driving. And so here we are today. We're going to play a little Mario Kart, and I'm going to ask Julia some questions.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Oh, my thing is ridiculous.
Here we go.
I can't even see anything
my
because
gosh.
my guy is so huge.
Oh, now I see. Yes, we are on the same course. You're just in front of me. Okay, so favorite song to sing in the car when you're driving?
Oh, I love a song by Celine Dion.
My Heart Will Go On?
No, not that one. Now I'm struggling to think of the title of it. We used to do ballet to it sometimes.
Oh, yes.
It is...
It's all coming
all coming back to me now. Yes, I love to belt that song. Which, fun fact, that song was originally written with Meatloaf in mind as the singer.
Yes.
And then they pitched it to Celine Dion. So either way, it'd be fun to hear Meatloaf sing it too.
A good Meatloaf.
Better than me.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm in a tree.
Absolutely. All right, your favorite road trip that you went on?
Probably my favorite was when you and I moved across cross country together.
True.
When we moved to Chicago.
So I sat in the back with your plant.
Yes. So my then boyfriend, now husband, and Amanda and I drove from Seattle to Chicago on January 1st, 2000.
2000. Y2K.
Y2K. And we survived. Nothing shut down.
Yep, we were able to make it. You still have that plant.
I do have that plant. It's like the indestructible plant. It's up at our lake house, and we water it like twice a year when we're there.
All right, so lake house, you just went to that. So up at your lake house, we have a private road up there, right?
Yes.
That we've allowed our kids to learn how to drive on. They kind of started out looking like us, how we're driving right now.
That is true.
Our oldest kids have their learner's permit now.
Yeah.
What
so
are
scary.
you? Are you happy, sad, scared, worried?
All of the above. I mean, I'm so excited to not have to drive to practices and sit in the car for 2.5 hours waiting for practice to end,
Yes.
but terrified of putting my soon-to-be 16-year-old on 290 during rush hour traffic to get to her practice for 2 hours. So kind of a little bit of both, really.
Yes.
How about you?
You know what? Again, it's that going to sports and practice, and
yes.
it's nice. But I am kind of a little bit of sad because I feel like that's when we have some of our most
chances to talk
and I get like he's a little bit tired at the end after practice, and he might.
I'm done. Where are you on this course?
How did you finish? That was ridiculous. Okay, so let's go to Julia and her competitiveness.
You're done.
I'm done. I'm finally done. Who do you think is a better driver, you or Adam, your husband?
Adam's a better driver. I get really distracted. Like, I'm actually impressed with myself right now that I am holding a conversation and talking to you.
Yeah, I definitely.
I don't know that I'm doing either thing
well
at the moment, like talking and trying to play this.
All right. So what was your first car?
Oh, I had a Mazda GLC, which stands for Great Little Car. Literally is what it was named as. It was like a 4-cylinder stick shift that could barely make it up like that big hill leading out of Boise
to go up
to college.
College,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
So we both went to University of Idaho, which was about 5.5 hours away from our home. And it's on a very windy road.
Yeah. Speaking of driving and trusting teenagers to drive, the fact that our parents let us drive that by ourselves is kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy. Yes, I actually, this winter we went to McCall, which is on that route. And Scott had to pull over because he was getting a little car sick because of the bends and mountains and rivers. And but it's such a pretty drive.
It is.
Like, we grew up in such a pretty place. All right. What would be your dream car?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't care about cars a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather own like a Vespa and live in Italy. Can I do that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely. Mine I would probably say is to have a driver. A limo would be my dream, and then have a driver drive me everywhere.
Perfect. I like that.
I kind of do that with all the Ubers.
I'll follow you in my Vespa.
We can off-road in your Vespa, which I feel like I'm doing right now. This course is very outsy. What am I doing?
I don't feel like I'm on the right course. Like, half the time I'm somewhere else.
Well, but you're still first. Ooh. I'm like 11th. Is there even 11 players?
No, there's only 9, and you're 11th.
I am. They're just like, she's so bad.
We're gonna even drop her
lower. Growing up, did you play any video games?
Not really. I played a little bit of like Atari to date myself.
Yeah.
Pong. I played Pong.
Yeah.
But not really. I wasn't super into video games.
Yeah. I mean, I think both of our families were very similar, where, you know, there wasn't a like, oh, I just jumped over a
I played more a little bit later, like after Adam and I got married, he liked to play Halo, so I learned how to play Halo.
Yes.
That's what we did for fun on our Friday nights.
I do remember that, ordering pizza Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's up at the lake house, and our kids play it.
They play, yeah. And I liked playing Rock Band. We have the Wii and still have that.
Yeah, that's fun. So you are an athlete. You grew up in sports, and your kids are athletes. What do you think is like one of the biggest things that you learned that you can apply to like leadership?
I think teamwork more than anything. I always played a lot of team sports, but even running track at the end of the day was a team sport in terms of the overall team winning.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that's a big part of it, is learning how to be on the same team with people that you might not choose to hang out with otherwise.
Yeah.
And finding the strengths about them and their good parts and the things that they add. So I think it added such, when I was younger, I got first.
I am like even behind.
It's because I had the giant turtle guy. But I think it just helps. I think that in combination with like wanting to win stuff and do my best and succeed, kind of the combination. But I think the teamwork part was the biggest part of it.
Absolutely. And I think you're also a mentor. Like, you're a mentor in that, where you're a basketball coach. You've also sit on boards and mentor, like, I think giving back, because it is such a tight-knit community.
Yeah, for sure.
That you can bring that into your job as well.
Yeah.
All right, again, I lost. Well, that was fun, and it proves that I'm a better driver in person, in real life, than on the video. But good job. So let's get down to some questions. What was your first job?
My first job that I officially, besides like babysitting or whatever, that I got paid for was sweeping. It's kind of like the gym maintenance person at the high school. So I played varsity basketball, and I needed something to make money in the summer, but I had summer league all the time. So he hired me to sweep the floors and mop the floors every day and clean up all the garbage after all the summer league games.
That probably taught you some things about like leaving things around.
Yes.
It's a good skill set. What's a little bit more history on some of the jobs that you've held prior to coming to ISACA?
Sure. So I started my career in consulting, which was a great way to get a flavor for doing a whole lot of different things. I did some technology implementation and ended up more on the marketing and strategy side. I spent a number of years at the National Restaurant Association in a variety of roles, everything from product development to true business development to leading marketing to leading membership. Was a great time doing a lot of different things there. And then spent about 5 years at the Illinois Technology Association. So kind of always in this, at least the last 20 so years, in this community building space. And that's kind of how I've defined my career recently, regardless of kind of the industry. That idea that community can bring people together to grow their careers or grow their business, kind of grow their personal development, whatever that looks like.
Absolutely, making connections. I think that's one of your biggest skill set, is making the connections, opening doors, finding people who are right for other things. I know that you've found jobs for people. You've also, not only in our circle, but other people. So it's definitely a skill set that you have. What personal goals are you pursuing right now?
Oh, that's a good question. I should probably have a better answer than I don't know. When I think about the things that I want to continue to grow at, I think it's kind of adaptive leadership. So learning how other people like to be led and adapting my style. I think I generally identify as a servant leader. Yeah. And I think that works for a lot of people, but doesn't always work in every single situation. And sometimes I have to figure out how to better adapt my style to the situation that I'm in. So whether that is when I'm being a board member at another organization or in our board setting and room, or the leadership style that I show up with the rest of my peers versus how I lead my team. Sometimes those things can change and have to adapt. So that's probably the biggest thing I'm working on right now.
And then personally, like in your home life, what would be probably the biggest thing that you're working on?
Probably yelling at my kids less.
Right.
I think almost every mom out there says the same thing. But generally learning to roll with the punches a little bit and realize that they're probably going to turn out. Actually, what I figured out is that my kids are going to need therapy no matter what I do, no matter how good or bad a mom I am. So if I just accept that now, it'll make it a lot easier to parent. I'll get a little less anxious.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you are raising some of the best girls I know around, personally. I can say that. When have you grown as a person the most in your life, and what caused that growth?
I think probably when I took on the role, I came into the Illinois Technology Association leading membership and marketing, so similar job to what I have now, but in a much smaller scale, just local to Chicago, and was asked to take over the CEO role. And as I did that, I kind of got a broader understanding of how much better the organization could have been managed, particularly from a financial standpoint. So it was a really hard time for me figuring out how I was going to lead this organization to the place that I really thought that it should be. I worked with an executive coach through that process to figure out what are the goals and the things that I need to set to kind of feel good about myself and feel good about the organization, because I had a strong inkling to just want to give up and walk away, but I couldn't at my core either. So I think I really grew in terms of understanding, really kind of it really helped me to identify I can feel good leaving or walking away when I get to this point, and here's the steps I'm going to take to get to this point. And so that taught me a lot about kind of my own ability to kind of manage through it, but also I learned a lot about the fact that I'm probably not cut out for entrepreneurship, right. Because it was very much that.
Stressful.
It was very stressful. I mean, it was were we going to make payroll this week, and what that was, and that's just not a comfortable place for me. At least not right now. Maybe someday right. I'll tackle that challenge.
Maybe in the future. So you talked a little bit about coaching, executive coaching, and mentorship as well. Is there people in your life that you can attribute that to get you to where you are today as a leader in your profession?
Yeah, I think I've worked with a lot of different people that have all in various ways taught me different things, had, formal mentors in the past where I've, gone to someone and said, will you be my mentor? Yeah. But then I think probably the ones that have been the most valuable have been things that have just kind of grown up through shared experiences with other people, kind of professionally. Right. There's a woman right now that we meet probably quarterly for coffee, whether it's virtually or in person, that just is going through a very similar kind of career journey as me. So almost in a peer mentorship way. And it's super helpful. We share connections and stories stories and ideas about some of the challenges that we're facing. So that's been super helpful in shaping and helping me play back things and test things like I'm thinking about this, and having somebody being able to honestly say, I think that's a really bad idea.
Maybe not.
Or maybe think about it this way, is super helpful.
What has been the most significant barrier in your career? If there's even been one that you feel.
I don't feel like I've had any big ones. I've definitely had moments where I've felt kind of the gender imbalance from time to time, not in a hugely significant way, but certainly I think there was a point in time when I was pregnant with my third child that I pretty much got passed over for a promotion with their assumption that I wouldn't want it. I don't think I wanted it anyway, but no one asked me, right? So I think some of those kinds of things, and I think that was almost 10 years ago now. I'm more confident as a person if that were to happen to me today, I'd raise a way bigger stink about it than I did at the time. I think there's more social consciousness and corporate consciousness about those kinds of things too. So there's been little things like that, I think, kind of along the way when I look back, but nothing like hugely significant that I felt like I had to overcome.
Right, absolutely. How do you balance career, personal life, and passions?
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. I try and remind myself, as important as the work is that we do at ISACA, that like I'm not sitting here curing cancer today, so that it's okay to compartmentalize a little bit. And I think that it's okay to take those breaks. And I talk to a lot of young women, a lot of times, particularly women, about knowing like when Sheryl Sandberg had the book about leaning in, right? And that it's actually okay to lean out sometimes, and that you have to pick the times and places that you decide to lean into your career, and that it's okay sometimes to lean out. And that thinking about career more as like lattice work than a corporate ladder is, I think, one of the keys, I think, in the way that I've really managed my career and my career growth is that I've sometimes taken jobs that are a sidestep or a downstep or 3 rungs over, but not necessarily always straight up.
Right.
And I think that's been a good balance for me. When the kids were little and I was traveling like every other week to Washington, D.C., basically in a commuting kind of job, I realized that was too much. And I took a job that like stepped that back, stayed very local, and actually made a little less money than I'd been making before, but it ended up being the right kind of step in career progression for me in the long run.
I think you're overall just a really organized person too.
I don't like clutter anywhere.
You don't like clutter. You're really good at planning. You're really good at looking ahead at schedules. You're really good at relying on your community. I feel like you have all the right skill sets for perfect balance. Sometimes I feel very off balance. And maybe I should say, what would Julia do? She would meal plan.
I don't know.
She would write it out and meal plan.
I do meal plan. I have to say I'm lucky I've had a lot of help too. So I've been fortunate that I've had great babysitters and nannies and people that can have helped, because I don't know that I could have, I call them, my second wife or second husband, that kind of thing. I've had as you said, community, because we'll take turns picking each other's kids up, and you've had my kids over weekends when both my husband and I were working. So so the it takes a village thing definitely plays into it.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk mental health. You did talk about this a little bit earlier about sometimes you need to lean back and take a break. What habits do you have to take care of your mental health?
Well, I don't know, don't take this as advice, but wine helps.
True.
I don't know that that's the kind of advice that I'm supposed to be giving, but, and for me, exercise is the place that I find the most opportunity. I get my whole family knows that like if I haven't been to the gym in 3 or 4 days, like I'm on a rampage. And that me making time and space for that makes me a better, happy, healthier person for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Burnout is a real thing. How do you support and encourage employees in your department to care for their mental health?
I think it's important we take the time we're given, and really take it off. Again, there's nothing typically so urgent in the work that we do that it can't wait a couple days, when you're on vacation, or even a whole week, especially if you've set yourself up for success and you have somebody who can back you up. I think that that's probably a key, is ensuring that other people have similar knowledge and that you don't hoard knowledge. I think that can lead to a lot of burnout when a lot of times I think people think like, oh, if I have all this knowledge, then I'm indispensable. And I think it actually, when you see people sucking up knowledge instead of sharing it, it actually kind of starts to end careers instead of build careers.
Absolutely, and it like you said, building the right community around you personally will also professionally and in your
Yes.
department, building that right community to have your back and be able to step in when you're not able to, because you never know what's going to happen. All right, we're to ISACA questions.
Okay.
So what do you think good company culture is?
I think good company culture is when people feel like they can show up as their whole selves at work.
Yeah.
Whatever that means and is to them, and be accepted for that and be able to feel comfortable working in the way and style and space that works best for them. Doesn't mean you don't, like I was talking about earlier, that you don't have to adapt from time to different personality styles and that kind of stuff. But a good culture allows you, if you are a servant leader, then you're respected for and people understand that, and that's your leadership style. And if somebody else leads in a different way or has a different approach to things, that's accepted and respected and stuff as well.
Absolutely. What about ISACA's mission excites you?
So speaking of kids and stuff, we were, I was explaining in the most basic ways to my kids kind of what ISACA does, and helping them understand that for them, the way I kind of phrased it was that we help make sure that it's safe for them to use their phones and apps and devices.
Right.
That was like the simplest way that I could describe it. And at the end of the day, if ISACA, if we are doing our job really well, then my kids don't have to learn about security.
Right.
Does that make sense? So like there's all these things out there around how to keep kids safe on devices and how, all that kind of stuff. Right. If we do our job super well and like what our mission is, you would never have to take that. Our kids would never have to take that course because they would be protected and safe all the time when they're online.
Absolutely, absolutely. What do you think ISACA offers better than anyone else?
We've talked a lot about community. Mm-hmm. I think that's like our superpower for sure. Absolutely. I think the connections that people make, the stories I hear of people who have become lifelong friends through their ISACA membership or meeting a mentor or meeting somebody who created their next job. Our certifications are strong and important and really help people get a stronghold, in their workplace. But I think it's the community that is like the thing that is really at the heart of ISACA.
What do you think is the most significant barrier to female leadership?
It's hard to generalize, right? But I think a lot of women lead differently than the way that most men have traditionally led. Like a very kind of hard-ass, direct line, get this done or else kind of mentality is not what I've experienced from most women leaders. And so I think sometimes that mentality still exists in the glass ceiling that we're trying to break into, and maybe we're seen as too soft or too nice or whatever that is, even though we're probably driving better and stronger results with a different style of leadership. I think that can sometimes be a barrier in how people perceive what a good leader is. That just creates some different challenges, I think, again, you can't generalize and say all women, but for a lot of women I've worked for or worked with, I've definitely seen that kind of a difference in style. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think you do a good job when you're trying to get a point across, not to basically say you need to adopt my thought, but here's why I think it would benefit us to do it this way, Yes. So I think you do a good job at not necessarily being soft, but you are direct. And I think you have a way of humanizing that directness, of like not being harsh, not being in that face, but then also telling the story so people can see from your perspective. I think you do a really good job.
I'd rather have people want to come with me somewhere than like force them.
Right.
So like I'd rather talk them into it, convince them, show them all the reasons why that makes sense to follow me where I'm going, than be like, I'm gonna handcuff you and you have to come.
Right. We've learned that with kids too, right?
Yes.
It's a lot easier if they just want to come along with you and do it. How do you want to be remembered as a leader?
This one's hard for me because sometimes I think that I fall too much into the I want to be liked, and that's a tough balance, right? I've carried that over from my teenage years, right?
Exactly.
I just want everyone to like me, and I've let go of that. Like the older I've gotten and the more experience that I've gotten, that being respected, I think is probably the thing I care about more. Like you might not want to go have a drink with me, but you respect me in the way that I operate and that I have integrity. I guess probably at the end of the day would be the key word, is that I've always operated with integrity.
Yeah, perfect. All right, time for lightning round.
Okay.
Superman or Batman?
Oh, Batman.
Okay, why?
Because he's sexier.
He's cuter. Movies or music? Favorite movie?
Movies or music? Probably movies more, and my favorite movie is When Harry Met Sally.
Yep. And then your favorite artist, your music artist?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I love her.
It was such a good concert. I know you went to a concert. I went to a concert. It's amazing.
I love her.
She's awesome.
I want to be her when I grow up.
Right. Anti-hero. Last concert you went to?
I think I went with you to the Windy City Smokeout.
Oh yeah, we did go together.
Who did we see?
This summer.
Tim McGraw.
Tim McGraw, who looks amazing for his age.
Yes.
And then a bunch of young kids.
Yeah, yeah. And then that one guy that was very cringy.
Yeah, there was a weird guy. What is the best non-curse one-word insult?
What do I don't know.
I feel like your husband would be good at this because he just blurts out sounds and words all the time. We'll just move on. What were you afraid of as a child?
Clowns.
Yep, I still am. I still don't like them.
I don't really either.
What was my nickname for you when we were younger?
I don't know if you, well.
I used to.
Well, you would use my whole name a lot.
Yes.
Julia Marie.
Yes.
So lengthen it. I don't know if that counts.
Julia Gulia?
Yeah, that's true. There was a lot
I would
of
call you
Gulia.
Julia Gulia and then Jules.
Yes.
What about for me?
Well, I made up your middle name so that
Yes.
I could call you Amanda Jane in response to you calling me Julia Marie.
Right.
You have to explain why I had to make up your middle name.
It's tradition in my family to not be given a middle name, and so that you take your maiden name when you get married. And now I think it's outdated because now you can take your name if you like it or not. You know, like now it was a little bit outdated. But yeah, so I didn't have a middle name until I got married. So she gave me my middle name.
I called her Amanda Jane so that I could have a full name for her when I was mad.
And then AJ.
Yes.
You would call me AJ. Would you rather have more time or money?
I would rather have more money because I think you can get best of both worlds.
Right.
You have more money, you can create more time in
Exactly.
your life because you can hire more people to do the things. Like someone would do my laundry, and then
Someone
I wouldn't
to
have to do
drive.
my laundry. They would drive me everywhere, all the things.
I cook my dinner, everything. Grocery shop. How often do you floss? Oh, this is getting really personal.
I should floss once a day, but I'm probably at 2 or 3 times a weeker.
Same. And I'm going to the dentist tomorrow, so I've been flossing every single day.
Oh yeah,
this week.
I do the you do it for like 2 weeks right before the dentist appointment.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, your gums look so healthy. Yeah, they do. It's because I killed them the last 2 weeks. Is your bed made right now?
Well, it was when I left the house. But my husband is in between jobs at the moment, so he probably took a nap. So it is probably unmade now.
It's a napper. And dog. And you have a dog. So,
And I have a dog.
But your dog doesn't really get in your bed. My dog
She does lately. She's
Really?
decided to sleep with us, and she's giant.
She's ginormous. Yes.
There's not a lot of room.
Yeah. What never fails to make you laugh?
People falling down.
I know. I trip all the time. I do. And I laugh at myself, and then I laugh at other people who do too. Do you think you could win a game show? Of course. You're so competitive. I think
Yes, because I'm yes, but not like a mental one. Like
No,
I would
but-
freeze on the spot, but like Amazing Race, I would love to do that. That'd be super fun.
Right.
I would probably do okay in Survivor.
Well, and like we played the quarters game or things like that, and you always
Yeah, like minute
win.
to win it, maybe.
Yeah, minute
Stuff
to win
that,
it.
That kind
type
of thing.
stuff.
Yeah.
Have you ever won a contest? Well, you did win the St. Patrick's Day
Oh, yeah, I won some beer games.
beer game. Yeah. Cats or dogs? You have both.
I have both, but I'm more of a dog person.
Yeah. Dream job or win a lottery?
Probably win the lottery.
Yeah.
Because then you could do
whatever you
Then you
want.
could
Right. Would you rather have physical or mental strength?
mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what is your guilty pleasure?
Celine Dion.
I was going to say Diet Coke. I don't know. Wine?
Wine,
Celine
chocolate,
Dion.
Diet Coke, and Celine Dion.
Okay.
Celine Dion's the one that's more like I probably shouldn't have said that out loud.
I don't know. I feel like she's pretty popular lately with all the TikToks and stuff.
That's
that
true.
people-
That's true.
We should have done that TikTok. We should have.
We were like the orig of that.
We were
We're the
originals
OGs of
we were
that
the
TikTok.
OGs of that TikTok with Celine Dion.
Yes. We were
just
doing it in
didn't
the
film
90s when nobody filmed anything.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So closing questions. What can people expect from you next?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out for myself quite yet. I think personally, I want to continue to be a stronger runner and some of those kinds of things. So I'd like to get back into racing again. I've taken a break, so I'd like to do that again. Professionally, you know, I'm hoping to help continue, I think, here at ISACA, this feel of community. It's been, I think it was strained during the pandemic, and the way we work and all that kind of stuff has changed. So continuing to find innovative ways to bring people together to still experience that.
Absolutely. What was your favorite part of this episode? Beating me at Mario Kart,
No.
which probably was not satisfying at all because there was no competition.
No, it was fun playing though. I haven't played a video game in a long time, so it was super fun.
Yeah. I think probably just seeing you. I feel like we don't see each other
in a while.
So hanging out and seeing you. What would you say if you had the whole world's attention for 5 minutes?
Oh, I don't need 5 minutes. I would say be kind to each other.
Right.
Like little bit of, like, just recognize that everybody has their thing, right? Like I always try to remind myself, like whatever is happening, most people are coming from a place of good intent.
Absolutely. And you just don't know what the person you're dealing with or talking to is going through at the time.
A little bit of kindness.
Yep.
Can never go wrong.
Awesome. What an upbeat ending. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Amanda Rabel, and this has been an ISACA podcast.